guys, Horrorman back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the brand new Ace Ventura Pet Detective made by NECA Toys. Now this is part of their ongoing retro collection that we've kind of seen the past 2 or 3 years, and it's going to fit in well with that retro line. Now as you can see, it's in that box packaging that we've seen with movie lines like the Home Alone, Elf, and a few different ones like Chevy Chase and Christmas Vacation. So they kind of went with that box packaging. Unlike the horror figures and like Escape from LA, which had like the clear clamshell type packaging. But just like the clamshell ones, this is resealable, so it is kind of nice. So just taking a look at this packaging, you get a really cool picture of the Ace Ventura Pet Detective movie image. You get a little warning on here. It does say ages 14 and up. You get a cool little design across here, a little snake there. On the top it just says Ace Ventura Pet Detective, to serve and protect your pets. You got a little dog barking here. You got the NECA logo. On the bottom you just basically get the credits for NECA. You get a UPC code. And then over to the side it says, if I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer. You get a little chimp here, a little cat. It says Ace Ventura Pet Detective. And then on the other side it says Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Wretch. Then you see a dolphin. You got, it looks like some kind of bird. And then you got Ace Ventura Pet Detective on there again. And then on the back you just get this really cool picture of Ace with his different animal friends. And it just kind of tells you a little about the set. And if you read this bubble on here, it just basically is a description of all the accessories that come with the figure, just basically written as Jim Carrey or Ace Ventura would have said it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this out of the packaging and get a closer look. Alright, so here's Ace out of the packaging, and you can see he does come with a ton of accessories. Now these figures usually come with a really cool backdrop, but this was kind of lame, so I'm kind of disappointed with that. But my box was actually a little bit damaged, so I'm not really going to be able to use this anyway. But yeah, like the included backdrop is kind of lame. I kind of wish we had like some kind of themed background, so that's one downside. But let's go ahead and get a close-up of the head sculpt. Alright, so taking a look at the first head sculpt that comes with Ace Ventura, this is basically the one that's on him in the box. And I think it looks great. Now I've seen mixed reviews about, this figure and the head sculpts, and some people say it's off. I think it looks great, man. I don't know what I'm seeing that other people aren't, or what I'm not seeing, but it definitely looks like Jim Carrey to me. And this head sculpt is definitely something that we've seen this expression before in a movie, no doubt about it. So just getting back to it, you can see he's got that crazy hair kind of curved up in the right side. He's got his teeth showing, just has that just funny grin on his face. Like the little cheek area here, I think that's a really nice standout point. Really good sculpt on that. And if you turn the head, you can just see that crazy hair out kind of swoops in the back. But just really good. I think the likeness is actually a lot better than people have said about it. And you got like the little kind of 5 o'clock shadow going on. Not sure if that camera will pick it up. But yeah, I think this is a really good head sculpt. Now Jim Carrey's Ace Ventura does come with 2 different interchangeable heads besides the one that's actually on it. And you can see he's got this kind of like laugh, sarcastic laugh type face. And then he's also got this kind of like detective mode face is what I call it. Kind of looks like he just breathed in a bunch of air and he's basically telling you like it is. Something, again, we've seen from the movie. So if you want to interchange that, you're just going to pop that head off, and it comes off pretty simple. No real issues there. And then you're just going to pop on the first head sculpt, and you just got to put some serious pressure on that. And then you have your sarcastic laughing face. And just like the first head sculpt, it's got that same kind of crazy hairstyle like you see with Jim Carrey, but he's got a completely different head sculpt. You can see the eyebrows are kind of done kind of like in an upward angle, and then he's got that goofy, you know, laughing face going on, like the little detail here. And I think with these other head sculpts, you can see that kind of like shadow a little bit better on his face, but again, you got the teeth showing here. But yeah, just the same quality head sculpt we see with the first one. Alright, and the third and final head sculpt is going to be that, like I said, that kind of detective mode head sculpt where he's, looks like he sucks some air in and he's kind of talking a lot at once. So you can see he's kind of got kind of like a sly type of expression. His eyelids look a little bit different. Just that little kind of smirk he's got on. So pretty cool. And again, you know, you got that same crazy hair. You can see a little bit of that shadow in there. So again, I mean, I think it's a pretty good head sculpt. It's not my favorite head sculpt of the three. It's probably my least favorite. But overall, really good. If I have one complaint, I do wish we had more of like the plain or like kind of neutral expression, kind of like the cover of the Ace Ventura movie. I feel like they kind of missed that because all the expressions are kind of like showing teeth or like an open mouth expression. So I know he's a goofy guy, but I think that's one little nitpick I have about this figure. You give us three head sculpts, give us one that's a little bit more neutral. But overall, again, they're really nice. It's great head sculpts. Alright, so taking a look at the rest of Ace Ventura here, you can see he's got this really cool like Hawaiian shirt on, which is like, you know, the main look he has in the original Ace Ventura. You got like the little flowers going on here, just that standard like Hawaiian floral pattern, and you got again flowers and designs on the shoulder parts, and then on the back you can see this big flower design, a little bit of colors on the collar. So really good color on this shirt, and it's like a nice material. It's, you know, it's not too thin, not too thick, so it doesn't really hinder any kind of movement. And if you wanted to, you could remove this shirt. He's got like that wife beater on underneath of the Hawaiian shirt, and I kind of like that you could see like the musculature through here. He was actually in pretty good shape in that movie, and Jim Carrey's always been in pretty decent shape. So it's kind of neat that you could see through here a little bit. He does have the wristwatch on his left wrist in the 10-10 position, and if you take the hand off, if you wanted to, you could remove the watch. But yeah, pretty good details on that. And then you can see he's got the belt going all the way around here, and that's done pretty well, and of course the shirt is tucked in. And then just looking at the bottom half of the figure, he's got those striped pants that we see him with in the movie, and I kind of like that they're a little short, so they kind of look like they're tucked into his boots. And I really like the boots on here. One of my favorite parts about the costume on this figure. And you can see some like wrinkling in the boots, which is nice. You got a little buckle here, got the heels, and as usual there is no peg holes on the bottom of the feet, and that's just how they do these retro figures. But I think the pants fit really good. I mean, they're supposed to be a little bit baggier, but these really aren't that baggy. I think they're just done perfect for Ace Ventura. So overall, I really like the clothes on this figure. Alright, now just taking a look at the articulation. It's pretty much what we used to for these retro figures at this point. As far as the head articulation, you can look down decently far. You can actually look up really far, which is great. So I do like that. And then he can kind of pivot his head back and forth if you want to get more expression, so I definitely like that as well. The arms can go pretty far out, and then if you want, you can rotate it and go pretty far up, and then pretty far down as well. And then you do have the single hinge elbow joint, goes up about that far. And then you do have the wrist articulation, and you can kind of move his hand kind of up and down, and then you can go side to side. So he's got really good, motion in his, his wrist. There's a little bit of waist swivel, so he can swivel pretty decent left and to the right. There's no ab crunch as far as I can tell. It's either that or it's locked, but I don't feel anything on here. The leg can go out fairly far if you want to get him in a goofy dance or something. He can go out decently far forward, about that far. And then he can go a little bit back, possibly more, but I guess the pants hinder just a little bit. And then you do have the single hinge at the knee, so you can go out like that. And then the boot itself can go up and down, decent amount. So, pretty good articulation. These figures tend to not have quite as much articulation, of course, as the Ultimate lines. Alright, so in terms of accessories, you're mainly going to get these animal friends for Ace Ventura. And this is the first one. It's just going to be this little, mainly red parrot, but you can see some different blues and other color accents going on in here. There's no real articulation on him, and you basically want to perch him on Ace's wrist, and he just kind of clips on there. He just kind of fits around the wrist. So pretty cool little accessory. And the next accessory is just this little bird friend that he has, and I just basically have him sitting in Ace's hand. But again, the detail is pretty nice on here. He's got these little like orange feet, and you can see the different like feather texture in here, little eyes and beak. So he's pretty cool, but he fits really nice in the palm of Ace's hand. Alright, and Ace's final little animal friend here is his trusty sidekick, Spike. And he's this little like monkey that he kind of has on his shoulder. So Spike, for the most part, doesn't have much articulation just like the other ones, but his tail can move. So what you want to do is you can kind of move the tail and you can fit him around Ace's neck, or you could just pop Ace Ventura's head off, put the monkey on, and then put Ace's head back on. But I definitely like him. He actually appeared in Ace Ventura 1 and 2, so he was kind of like his main little buddy. And I really like the attention to detail on Spike. You can see he's got those little innocent looking eyes, and just the detail on that face is so well done. So I'm glad they put some extra effort into Spike. And I like that he can actually sit on his arm, so if you don't want to put him around his neck, he's got a couple different options that you have. And again, if you wanted to, you can move the tail around a little bit depending on where you want to display him. Alright, and last but not least, you do get a few different other accessories. And these are mainly things that Ace can hold, and then one's just kind of like a cool little collectible. So of course you do get the Ace Ventura Pet Detective business card. Now this one's life size. You can see my hand holding it. So this one's just kind of like a fun little thing to maybe just have a cool little souvenir from the movie. It just says Ace Ventura Pet Detective. You got this cool little picture of Ace in front of the badge, and then it just says to serve and protect ... your pets. So pretty cool. Now there's nothing on the back, it's just cardboard. And then you also get two more little pieces of cardboard accessories, and they're so small it's really hard to focus, and you can see like my fingers compared to the size. The one is a football team shot of the Miami Dolphins. The second one is a little "You've Been Had" by Ace Ventura calling card. Alright, so for the first comparison, here he is next to the Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation figures. You have the Santa Claus version, which is the regular one, and then you have the Chainsaw Clark. And I really like the scale here. Chevy Chase is pretty tall, and I think Jim Carrey's a little tall too. Chevy Chase is probably a little bit taller, but still, I think these fit in perfect. And here he is with some horror figures. You have the Part 6 Jason, the Scream Factory, Chucky, the little Jason from the San Diego Comic-Con set, and then you also have Freddy Krueger. And you can see the scale's pretty good here too. Jason looks like he's just a little bit bigger, but of course the hair makes Jim a little bit taller. But overall, these look great next to each other. The Chucky's a little bit bigger size, so they don't scale perfect, but I think he still fits in pretty good. And here he is with the Home Alone line of figures, and you can see Marv's a little bit bigger. He's a pretty tall guy. And then you have Kevin, which is in really good scale with Ace. I could definitely see some cool pictures with those two. And then, of course, Joe Pesci is the shortest among all of them. And I love that he's in scale, because he is a pretty short guy. But it's so cool to see all these like comedians in one shot, and Chevy Chase. It's really neat. I'm hoping we get more like comedian type figures. Alright, and for the final comparison, here is Ace Ventura next to some other NECA figures, some in different scales. So you got the Ultimate Chucky, you have the Sam from Trick or Treat, and then you have the 1990 movie Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And all those are considered 7-inch scale, so you can see they're much shorter than Jim Carrey's Ace Ventura. And then you also have the Escape from New York Snake Plissken, which is of course Kurt Russell. And Jim's a little bit taller than him, and I think that's accurate. And these look pretty cool next to each other. And honestly, I have a lot of the retro figures, and these two are probably the best human characters I have. I mean, they are really good with the likeness. But all of them look really cool. I think the Chucky would actually look pretty neat in this retro line, like the 7-inch mixed with the retro. It seems like a better size here. But overall, really cool figures. Alright, so that's my review of the NECA Toys Ace Ventura Pet Detective Retro figure. And overall, I'm really happy with this figure. Now, I know some people have kind of questioned the likeness. You know, I kind of mentioned that early. And I don't get it, man. You know, just having this in hand and, you know, just looking at it, I don't get what people are saying. This head sculpt particularly is so good. I really like the little critters that come with him. I feel like that's pretty much what makes Ace Ace. I mean, if you don't have pets with him, you'd really have to find some, you know, on eBay or with some old figures. So I'm glad that NECA kind of threw in all these little characters. I kind of wish I had some other animal friends, maybe made by Schleich or something, like a big alligator or something. But it might be tough finding them in this 8-inch scale. But like I said, I'm really happy with that. If I had any gripes, you know, I kind of mentioned this already, but I really like the face on the cover of Ace Ventura, and he doesn't have the teeth showing. So I kind of wish they would have gave us a neutral head sculpt, and even more, I really wish we had a pair of sunglasses. I feel like the sunglasses are the one thing NECA kind of forgot about. I'm hoping maybe they'll do an Ace Ventura When Nature Calls version, and maybe we can get a neutral head sculpt and a pair of removable sunglasses, or at least a head sculpt with sunglasses on them. I think that would really make the figure, because he definitely has those big sunglasses, those wrap-around glasses on, and it's hard to find stuff like that in this scale. You could probably try looking for Mego versions, but they're probably going to look really cheap. But yeah, overall, I really like this figure. So I was able to order this online through Mallfish Collectibles. I recommend them. They're a pretty cool site. You get like $5 off your first order. If you refer a friend, you get another $5. So yeah, I would recommend them. Otherwise, you can go to Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, places like that online. As far as in-store, your best bet's going to be like comic or specialty stores. So you're probably going to want to call them beforehand just to see if they are getting them. But yeah, I really like the figure, and I really hope NECA kind of expands with Jim Carrey line, at least with the Ace Ventura 2. So thanks for watching my review. Please subscribe, please like the video, leave a comment or question if you have one, and check out my slideshow at the end of this. We've got some pretty cool pictures to show you, some goofy ones of course. So until next time guys, see ya!